Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Vaidya Desai Shah. I am a consultant robotic gynecologic surgeon and an obstetrician and an international faculty for obstetrics and gynecology. So welcome to my official YouTube channel, Dr. Vaidya Desai Shah's Obstetrics and Gynecology. And you can also join me on my FB page and post all your queries, Dr. Vaidya Desai Shah's Obstetrics and Gynecology Discussion Forum. This platform is for all the upcoming aspirants of the NEET PG exams and the next exams, and as well as for the practicing clinicians, because in this on this platform we are going to cover all the updated guidelines. All right, so welcome to the second part of COVID Diaries in Obstetrics and Gynecology. So do like, subscribe and share my channel. So welcome to part 2 in COVID Diaries, right? So, COVID Diaries Part 2. Our today's case begins with Mrs. Nora, who is a 27 years old pregnant patient who was exposed to a confirmed case of COVID-19 patient, and an RT-PCR was thus done to confirm her status. The result of RT-PCR was positive, even though she shows no signs of or symptoms for the same. So which of the following will not be a part of the management protocol for this patient? Option A, USG fetal surveillance for growth after 14 days and continue every 2 weeks after. Option B, perform Doppler after 14 days of isolation and continue every 2 weeks thereafter. Option C, isolate the patient at home for 14 days. And option D, perform a single USG fetal surveillance after 14 days only. So this is a question in which basically they are trying to tell how will you manage a pregnant female with COVID-19 patient. How are you going to manage an asymptomatic pregnant COVID-19 patient? Remember that Lancet has given published guidelines for management of pregnant females with COVID-19, that is SARS-CoV-2 exposure. According to those guidelines, any asymptomatic female who has been diagnosed with COVID-19 must be monitored, must be isolated for 14 days and she must also undergo USG fetal surveillance for the growth of the fetus and Doppler every 2 weeks. Okay, so after recovery. So this is very, very important. Then if you would like to determine which is the incorrect option, look at option A, USG fetal surveillance for growth after 14 days and continue every 2 weeks thereafter. That is a part of the management protocol. Hence option A is correct. If we look at option B, perform Doppler after 14 days of isolation and continue every 2 weeks thereafter, that is also true. So either USG fetal surveillance for growth or Doppler or both can be done. They are both a part of management protocol. Isolation of the patient for 14 days is advisable. It is the option D which is the incorrect answer. Why? Because a single USG fetal surveillance will not be a fetal surveillance. It will be just a single sonography, and that will not give any useful answer regarding the fetal growth. Okay, it will not be useful for monitoring or for surveillance of the fetal growth, right? Because it is a single USG. It should be a serial USG for fetal growth surveillance, right? Now, if we have a pregnant patient, so here I will be sharing the sonography protocols in pregnant females with COVID-19 patients and and also in the suspected probable confirmed cases of COVID-19. So what are the routine sonography protocols in pregnant female? Usual scans that we advise for pregnant female are the 11 to 13 plus 6 week scan, that is also known as the anti-scan. This is also useful for dating. Then the second trimester scan from 18 to 19 plus 4 weeks. That is for the anatomical survey of the fetus. So that is also known as the anomaly scan. It is, in better terminology, it is known as TIFA, targeted imaging for fetal anomalies. And in third trimester, fetal growth scan will be advisable. So one scan at least in each trimester is advisable for asymptomatic patients. But if we find the clinical screening of a pregnant female to be suspicious for COVID-19 exposure, we will reschedule the first trimester scan. We will reschedule the combined test in 2 weeks within the gestational age window. Also, we can offer her NIPT or serum screening if it is indicated, and detailed scan must be done after 3 to 4 weeks of her quarantine period. All right. After her quarantine period, detailed scan can be advisable. Remember one thing, that rescheduling of the combined test must fit within the gestational age. That is why it should be rescheduled within 2 weeks. All right. If we have a case of outpatient COVID case, then also we must reschedule it within 2 weeks. And for the confirmed cases which are inpatient, that means which are the cases of hospitalized COVID patients, they in those patients, anti-scan, that is 11 to 13 plus 6 week scan must be performed at the bedside itself. Also, NIPT must be offered. Coming to the second trimester anatomical scan, if we have a clinical screening suspicious for COVID-19 exposure, then we can reschedule it after quarantine period in 2 to 3 weeks. If there are outpatient COVID cases, then such scan can be rescheduled in 3 to 4 weeks following recovery. And hospitalized COVID patients must undergo bedside screening for fetal anomalies, right? Because there is no indication, there is no need to reschedule them because they are already at the hospital. So why there is any need for rescheduling, right? So better you can do it bedside for both the dating and for the anatomical scan, right? For the fetal growth scan in third trimester, routinely we do not perform unless it is clinically indicated. If we have suspicion for COVID-19, then also we will not perform it routinely. But if we have a confirmed case of COVID-19, we need to monitor the fetal growth. So surveillance must be done every 2 to 4 weeks after recovery. Similarly, for even for the hospitalized COVID patients, follow-up every 4 weeks is recommended. All right, because these parameters are very, very important. So basically, these are the guidelines of sonographic management of pregnant patients with COVID-19 infections in the COVID pandemic. All right, this is very useful for your upcoming exams as well as for the practicing clinicians, where you can decide when you must be calling your patients and when you must not be calling your patients. All right. So now, thank you for your patient listening. Do like, subscribe and share my official YouTube channel, Dr. Vaidya Desai Shah's Obstetrics and Gynecology. And also you can join my FB page, Dr. Vaidya Desai Shah's Obstetrics and Gynecology Discussion Forum. So stay tuned. Good luck. Thank you. Bye-bye.